Let's turn to Michael O'Hanlon now, Senior Fellow in Foreign Policy at the Brookings Institution. That's a nonprofit, nonpartisan public policy organization. Hey, good to see you.
Good to be on, Shep.
The rhetoric here, I'm not sure what's happened, practically speaking, but the rhetoric is at a new level.
Yeah, I think that's right, although, as you know, there have been previous experiences and events that have similarly engaged some bad back and forth between Moscow and Washington. For example, the cruise missile strike of early April led to the same kind of, at least temporary, warnings about not to come near, not to do this again, not to violate parts of western Syrian airspace. Russia made those kinds of comments before. We sort of inched our way back. As Jennifer pointed out, we don't necessarily fly in the west very much anyway, even now. But we were especially careful, as I understand things, after that cruise missile strike. So we've had this kind of thing before. You know that Turkey and Russia had this, a year and a half ago when the Turkish military shot down a Russian aircraft over their airspace. So when people are jostling for position in a place like this, to some extent, these are dangers that recur and probably will continue to do so.
Now, is our big, if competition is the right word, is the big competition in that region Russia, or is it others?
Well, it's a great question, and you're right to even put some asterisks or some quotation marks around the word competition. We don't really know what we want in Syria except to defeat ISIS. And by the way, the Pentagon spokesman that you referenced, he said our only enemy is ISIS. That's not quite right, because Al-Qaeda has an affiliate in Syria, too. Presumably, they're our enemy there. And, just defeating ISIS is not going to end the civil war. It's not going to take away future sanctuaries for a group like ISIS or Al-Qaeda. So we still need a bigger strategy that has to be consistent with most of what Russia wants to end the civil war in Syria. Otherwise, a tactical defeat of ISIS may not really amount to much in the longer term. So we got a lot of thinking left to do here.
Explain for our viewers why any solution to the, 8-year-long civil war in Syria has to provide what the Russians want.
Well, it's a good question. But I think let's look, for example, to the northwest of the country in this area around Idlib. That's where the Al-Qaeda affiliate is holed up. That's where a number of Russia-friendly groups and also the more moderate opposition that we like are all sort of in one space. What's going to happen next? Is Assad going to attack them? Is he going to try to defeat them? Is Al-Qaeda going to try to co-opt the moderate insurgents that we work with? There is absolutely no way to tell what's going to happen up there. And I think Russia is not going to be, if they're upset about what we're doing in the eastern part of the country, imagine as we get very close to their bases in the west. So that's the kind of place where I think we need some kind of a concept of how we're going to cooperate, especially because Syria, frankly, is just not worth superpower war. So we don't want to get to the point where we're actually shooting at Russian airplanes. They don't want to shoot at us. So we need some way to at least, reconcile our most important objectives. That's why I say, since there's no driving Russia out of this thing militarily and it's not worth the price to do so, we're going to have to find some way at least to, split our differences down the middle.
Michael O'Hanlon, very interesting. Thank you.